I've arranged a ton of beats, approximately 220 in the last 6 months. I've also seen every YouTube video under the sun about arrangements, and I've even taken a few paid courses strictly on arranging. Today I'm going to share everything that I've learned just so you don't have to go through what I went through. I'm about to save you weeks of learning and cram it all into one nice little video for you, and this will be everything you need to arrange your next track. And I got 4 tips for y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4. Before we get into that, what even is arrangement? Now, Google will tell you that arrangement is the action, process, or result of arranging or being arranged. Quality definition there. But when it comes to music, arrangement is the story that you tell. Imagine each track is a book. If you jumbled up all the chapters of the book, it wouldn't make sense and no one would read it. The same thing goes for your songs. Each section of the song needs to make sense and flow into the next one in order to keep the listener engaged throughout the whole entire track. You do this through arrangement. Now that we got that out of the way, let's hop into the 4 tips I think about every single time I'm arranging a new track. Number 1, sections. Every song that you've listened to has almost always had at least these 3 sections: intro, outro, chorus/hook, bridge, verse, in that order. So let's just start with the intro. For your intro, the goal is to catch the listener's attention right away. You want to start with the vibiest part of your beat. You want the listener to instantly know the vibe of the song as soon as it starts playing. Especially with people's short attention span nowadays, the intro is extremely important. Probably the most important, if I'm honest. A lot of times in trap songs, you'll hear that the drums come in right away. This is a good technique if your melody is kind of basic and the drums are the main piece of the track. But if you have a super catchy melody, just start with that. All you want to achieve is to get your listener's head moving by the end of the first 4 bars. That's it. That's all you want. Now, intros are usually 8 bars long. This can vary, but an 8-bar intro will always work no matter what. Let's just hop into a project and check out this intro that I have here. So we got this 8-bar intro, and I'm just going to play it through so you can hear it. Nice. And notice how I started with the drum. All I'm trying to do is instantly throw the vibe of the song right into the listener's face. So as soon as the song starts, they kind of know where the song is headed almost. Starting with the drums also allows the listener to catch a rhythm, which is also very important in the intro. So if we listen to the melodic elements that I have, we start with this main guitar.
Bruh.
We have this main guitar, this main piano, as well as this little accent. Now, I'm just introducing all the elements that I'll be using throughout my beat. That way, when they come back in later, the listener isn't caught off guard and kind of distracted from these random elements coming from seemingly nowhere. Now, along with these melodic elements, we also have this perk loop, which helps to keep the rhythm of the intro when the drums aren't there. So let's just listen to everything without the drums. Perfect. This is a good little intro, and the addition of this perk loop also adds a little bit of tension, which we'll talk about more in the second tip. But for now, let's move on to the hook/chorus. Now, this is the part of the song that you want your listener to be humming along or singing if you have vocals. It should be the catchiest part of the song and the thing that people remember the most. It's really the meat and potatoes of the track. You want it to be the most exciting, have the most movement, and have the hardest hitting drums, really. But do be careful if you want somebody to hop on your track that you don't overcrowd your hook. You still want to leave room for a vocal if you're planning on putting a vocal on top of it. So here, let's just listen to the 16 bar hook that we got. So obviously, the thing I want people to remember is this little piano that goes. Simple, repetitive, and catchy. That's all you want. Now, the length can vary, but 16 bars is the norm, and this just feels natural to most people. Now, after the hook or the chorus comes the bridge or the verse. And this is where a lot of people go wrong, including myself. The whole point of the bridge and the verse is to lower the energy. This is where a rapper really shines through. They can flow on it however they see fit because there's tons of room for them to flow. Let's just listen to an example so you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. Notice the drop in the energy. This is really where the rapper is going to start flowing and just kind of going crazy. Back into the chorus. Now, there's a few ways to lower the energy of a section, and all I've done for this beat is I've taken away almost all of the elements except for this main guitar, and I've also actually lowered it an octave. So that really drops the energy. Another technique I used is I created a second drum pattern that's just a lot simpler than the chorus drum pattern. And I know that it sounds empty, but in the context of the whole song, it flows nicely. And if there's a vocal on top of it, you're really not even gonna notice. You're gonna be able to feel the difference, which is all that you want. So now we kind of understand the three main sections, the intro, the chorus, and the verse. A little formula that's always gonna work: an 8-bar intro, a 16-bar hook, a 16-bar verse, another 16-bar hook, another 16-bar verse, and then an 8 or 16-bar outro. This is the super common formula, simply just because it always works. Now let's hop into tip number 2, tension and release. I've already touched on this a little bit in the first tip, but the goal of music is to create tension that gets released in a satisfying way. Now, without going into music theory too much, there's a few easy ways to create a lot of tension. The most simple way is to utilize silence. So if we look here in our verse, we have these drums going for the first 6 bars of this verse. And all I've done is I've cut the drums in this section right here. So there'll be no drums playing, and all that you're gonna hear is this guitar. And the reason that this works is because at this point in the song, the listener should already understand the rhythm of the drums, and they're going to be expecting the drums to keep playing. So when you take the drums away, it kind of shocks the listener's ear a little bit and increases that tension. So let's just listen to it and hear what I'm talking about. right here. Boom, perfect. So yeah, a drum cut is one of the most easy ways just to increase tension. You could also reverse it and do a melody cut, but a melody cut is a little bit more, takes away a little bit more frequency range. So it's not always the best idea to do a melody cut, but it can work in specific situations. Let's just try it here and see if it works. It could work, but I like the drum cut better. So let's just put this back to how it was. Another easy way to create tension is to just speed up the pattern towards the end of the loop. And if we look at our intro and we listen to this little perk loop right here, turn on the automation clips, and we listen to this perk loop, you'll get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. Notice how at the end of the pattern, it speeds up. Copy and pasted the perk loop, and I just stretched it down to be twice as fast. That's all. It's almost inaudible to the ear, but you can really feel it in the beat, which is what we want anyways. Now, in order to create a satisfying release, all you need is your drop to be catchy and to resolve. If you want to learn more about tension and resolution, I'm going to make a full video on that because it really deserves it, and there's a lot more that goes into it. Number 3, contrast and smoothness. Now, all of these tips sort of go together when it comes to arranging, but the idea of contrast and smoothness is really going to allow you to understand how to create a specific vibe. And what I mean by that is, if you want a beat to be harder hitting, then you want to use more contrast. If you want it to be a little bit softer and easier to listen to, then you want to be more on the smooth side of the spectrum. But it's very important to utilize both of these concepts in every track. So let me just kind of explain a little bit more when it comes to the context of this beat. So if we listen to the intro, we have the guitar, the piano, and this accent. The guitar on the drop, the guitar and the piano stay the exact same. So that's going to create a real smooth transition because the melody is actually saying almost the exact same. Now the contrast is coming in with the drums and the piano. But since there's no drums here, the drums are going to create a lot of contrast. It's going to fill up a lot more frequencies that weren't there, as well as the pattern of the piano is new and we haven't heard it before. But this accent introduced the sound of the piano. So that's where the smoothness comes in. You already are hearing the sound of the piano, but when it drops, a new pattern creates that contrast. And this is how you get beats to feel cohesive and make sure that they flow into one each other. It's through the use of contrast and smoothness. Either side of the spectrum, it really just depends on the vibe that you want. And remember, this is just a guideline, so if it sounds good to you, then it sounds good. Very last tip is more of a practical tip, and it's the idea of subtractive arrangement. Let me pull up another beat here so I can show you what I'm talking about. When you're staring at a blank project, you want to start with the hook or the chorus, the most energetic part of the beat. And then you want to reverse engineer the lower energy sections in order to make sure that they flow into the higher energy sections. This will be really helpful if you find trouble transitioning from section to section and you just can't seem to make it cohesive. All you do is you start with an 8-bar loop, and this is what I got here. So let's just give it a listen. So instantly, there's a ton of energy. And this is the main chorus. So when I'm thinking about designing my intro, literally this is exactly what I do. I'll take this 8-bar loop and I'll just copy and paste it once and copy and paste it twice. And what I'm gonna do is take away the elements that I don't want to hear. So for this intro, I don't want any of the drums. So we're just gonna take them all away. And then I want to start with just this guitar. So this is kind of the main element. And I want people to really hear this guitar and kind of catch the vibe of this guitar. So we're just gonna start with that. And then I also do not want this flute to come in until the drop. And this tuba is good here, but I want these horns to come in on the second half of this second 8-bar loop. Just like that, we take a full 8-bar hook, and now we have a little intro. Let's just listen to the intro that we have now. And you can feel the energy rising. And it's really that easy. All you do is take away the elements that you don't want to hear and slowly bring them back in until that final drop happens and the hook happens. From here, we can copy and paste this over, make this a 16-bar hook. And I've already done a little bit of arrangement here, but all I've done is I've copy and pasted everything just like this and deleted the sections that I don't want to hear. Even in the drums, all I do is I just delete sections. So you start with the highest energy section and you build backwards from there to the lowest energy section. Yeah, and it's simple as that. And now we have a fully arranged beat. And let's just hear the verse. And feel the energy difference. Way less energy. But still, you can feel the rhythm. And boom, just like that, we have a fully arranged track. Now, if you've watched all the way to the end, you're the GOAT, and you might as well subscribe already. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, I hope you found value in this video. Let me know what you want to see next, and I will see you when I see you.